So let's jump back to the first record in our database and discuss a bit about tagging and coding. Notice on the right side of the screen we have what we call layouts in relativity. Layouts are web-based coding forms storing the bibliographical data and metadata about a record, as well as the tagging and coding structure used by the review team. They are highly customizable and completely secureable from user to user and group to group. Right now I'm logged in as a power user, so you'll see that I have a host of layout options available. This form that's called coding looks like it's concerned with a lot of issue tags here. The one called first pass review looks to be very limited amount of bibliographical data. If I were a first pass reviewer, my options would likely be locked down to this coding form, and I wouldn't be able to see all these other options on the list here. I would have vision to the forms that included the decisions I needed to make. There is one here for assignments of documents, another one for the privilege log, and then one called all fields that appears to be only read-only metadata about the record. So let's go back to coding, and where we can place rules on these layouts to ensure the quality and consistency of the review. So for instance, I can make a field read-only, like control number or custodian here, and even though I'm in edit mode, I cannot edit these fields. This orange box here indicates that this designated field is required. So that's persistent throughout relativity, that the orange box means that this field is required. So for this particular coding form, it looks like responsiveness is the required decision. If I were to uncheck the values and try to save it, it wouldn't allow me to do that because I have to make a decision before moving forward. Also set up our propagation rules. Let's say I tag a record as privileged and I want that designation to automatically propagate for any member of this record's family or duplicates in the system. I could use this copy from previous rule, and it allows the users to copy coding decisions from one document to the next before saving. This is very useful when you have batches of documents that are assigned out to reviewers based on conceptual similarity, because oftentimes the documents will be coded the same. We could also set up advanced logic on these to enforce best practices and workflow rules. Maybe this particular document, there's a rule that says at this stage a record cannot be tagged as both privileged and similar and responsive at the same time. So when we try to save it with that designation, it's going to throw us an error that says this document cannot be responsive and privileged. And then maybe if we were in a different place in the review, or if someone were to tag this privilege, they're going to need to pick a deeper determination of one of these subtypes. So at that point, maybe we would give them a warning that tells them that a privileged subtype must be selected for privileged documents. We can even set up rules where if someone comes in and tags as a document as super hot, we want to force them to leave a comment to leave an explanation for that designation. Or if they tag a record as in fuego, in addition to that comment, we're going to shoot off an email to the lead partner in the case saying something like, this document has been tagged in fuego, here's the hyperlink, you might want to take a look. Some review platforms let you tag a record as reviewed, but you can set up criteria to manage that process in relativity. So maybe if responsiveness, confidentiality, and privilege have all been addressed, then we're going to automatically have that document flagged as reviewed and shot off to a second level reviewer. So what we're trying to do is give you the tools to sit down with the case team, come up with the best practices workflow for the review, and then solidify and automate those features. This way, everyone has decisions, documents, and information they need to be very fluid in an automated way without a ton of extraneous matters that don't concern them. Does anybody have any questions about layouts and relativity? I'm going to finish up the core reviewer interface by talking about related items. Down here in the right-hand corner, we have the related items pane, where we can see different relational groupings about a record. Right now, I am showing the family grouping of this record. So I have the original email here with the attachments to the email. You can see the Excel doc, the PowerPoint, the Word doc in Korean, and the document that had the track changes. Maybe I don't have the propagation rules on for family groups turned on right here. However, I know that all these documents are responsive. So I just determined that I'm going to make a mass action. I can go ahead and edit these 6 documents. Maybe I want to tag them all as responsive. And then I can go ahead and click Save. Here we also have the duplicate information, and this table is completely customizable. Here you can see we have control number and location, but maybe we decide that at one point we want to show the privilege designation because we want to do a quick QC of how duplicates and privileged documents are being coded in the system. We can also view similar documents and their information, and whether it's using similar document detection that's built into the relativity and powered by the analytics engine, or if we've processed data through another tool prior to bringing it to relativity. Relativity also keeps a full audit history of every document. It identifies whether the documents were reviewed, updated, who did it, when they did it, and was it one of the propagation rules that we talked about, or did they directly edit the record? I can click details and take a look, and I can see the full history of the document. Or I can go ahead and filter down. And maybe I only want to see updates that were made to this document. Just click update. As a side note, all things that we audit can be reported on. So whether you want to see how far we are into the review based on the responsive designations or productivity reports to understand how many documents per hour, edits per hour our reviewers are making, that can all be run inside the Relativity application. Finally, circling back, we're going to go to production history. And here's the production history about the document. So I can see all the productions that AS01 was associated with, the dates they were produced, the beginning and ending Bates numbers, and I can kick this out to Excel if I want. Maybe I want to look and see exactly how it looked when it was part of the Acme production. So I'm going to go up here, and I see that in September of 2008. So I'm going to go up to the Productions Radio button and get a quick look at it. It looks like it was stamped confidential, that there were some redactions made on it, and perhaps I'm curious what this record looked like in the Chicago production that was almost a year later in June of 2009. Can take a look at the Chicago production, and we can see that it's pretty different. Different redactions, it looked like it wasn't confidential. So that's a quick and easy way to view all the various productions and see the differences between them without having to look through different databases or having a convoluted workflow. Are there any questions about the native file viewer?